Jody.
I'm Jess.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
So, in the 15 minutes we have today, we're just going to talk about anything you want to work through in your life right now. And we're going to kind of hopefully set a goal for you so that you kind of feel like you've gotten something out of this session today.
Okay.
Okay? So why don't you start? Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you have going on?
Well, right now I'm living with my sister-in-law, and she is going through a divorce. So me and my husband and 2 kids moved in to kind of help her out financially and just be there for the kids. She works full-time, and so she wanted someone to be there. And I find that I feel like I have everybody else's back, and nobody has my back. I take care of everything at home. I try and make sure that things are in order. And, you know, my husband and her, they both come home from work, and they work hard too, but they are just so exhausted that sometimes I feel like I'm a one-man band, and that's hard.
Yeah, that's definitely hard.
Yeah.
So you feel like everything is on you and nothing is on them?
Right.
Okay. So, let's say, bear with me, let's say that there was a miracle. After our session tonight, you went home, and when you woke up in the morning, a miracle had happened, and this problem has just vanished. How would you know at that point that the problem was gone? What would be different?
I think I'd feel relieved almost. I think I would feel like, you know, someone's trying to help me out, and someone can see that, you know, that I needed that help.
Okay. How would your husband be able to tell that the miracle had happened? That something was different about you?
I think he'd be able to tell my attitude. Oftentimes I'll do things. I don't know if you've read the 5 love languages. It talks about like your love language of if it's like physical touch, things like that. Anyways, I've been reading that, and mine is words of affirmation. So sometimes I find myself doing things for just that, like I'll do my niece and nephew's laundry so that somebody will notice that I'm going above and beyond. But I don't like that inside I'm waiting for that, like, praise and thank you, that I'm waiting for them to say something. I don't like that I do that. And so sometimes I think that I do things to please others instead of myself, and I'm trying to just make it so that then they see how great I am, but then at the end of the day, it doesn't happen.
So you say you're doing things to please others, but ultimately you are trying to get some praise for that or something like that, to please yourself as well.
Right.
Okay. So would your sister-in-law, how would she see this miracle? Would she be able to see that something was different?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think she might be able to. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right, so on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being that you have a lot of help at home, and 1 meaning that you are carrying everything on your shoulders, where are you at in that scale?
Probably a 3.
A 3. So you feel like there's a lot of weight on your shoulders.
Right.
Okay, have you communicated to your husband or your sister-in-law about this?
Sometimes. I think more so my husband. I feel like not only for everybody's like just well-being of having food and, you know, making sure they have clean clothes and that they're taken care of. I think it's an emotional stability as well, where my sister-in-law isn't as stable. I feel like sometimes I'm her kid's foundation as well, and just that solid, strong personality. So sometimes I feel, I mean, my husband has school and things like that, so he just tries to stay out of the feelings side of things.
Yes.
That he doesn't want to know how everybody's feeling, or if Jenny's feeling okay. And so I feel like I need to talk to her to make sure, you know, I just need to let her talk through her feelings, so she's talking to somebody. But And so emotional wise, sometimes I feel like I'm trying to take care of everybody else, but at the end of the day, I don't have anybody to talk to because I don't want to tell my sister-in-law what I really truly think.
Yes.
Because I know she just needs a listening ear. But yet my husband doesn't want to hear all of the feelings side
The
of it.
emotion side of it.
Right.
That's gotta be really hard.
It is.
Because you feel like your sister-in-law is not emotionally stable enough to carry the burden of what you're going through.
Right.
Because of all the stuff that she's going through.
Right.
And then your husband doesn't want to hear about feelings. Does he not want to hear about your feelings, or just your sister-in-law's feelings, or just the emotions in general?
I think just the emotions in general.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he tends to kind of tune it out, and if I get emotional about it and he can tell that I've had a rough day, he'll sit and talk with me about it.
Mm-hmm.
And we usually come to some type of discussion that I need to work more on me and stop worrying about everybody else.
Yes.
And so sometimes that will help, talking with him about it. He understands me really well and understands how I think. Sometimes I think deeper into things than I need to.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll pull my head out of it and then I can stop worrying about it. But
So when you come to that conclusion with your husband that you need to work on yourself, does that ever actually happen?
sometimes it depends on how low I get. If I'm break down and I'm crying, then usually I do know that something is, at that point I could fix something within myself, which will then fix everything else. And so I do have my days where I do try and focus more on me, or I really tell them, hey, I need to talk, and I try and get my feelings out. But sometimes I do feel that that they have so much going on that I don't want to be an extra burden to them in sharing all of my feelings, because I am a very feelings emotional person, but I keep a lot of it to myself.
That's going to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you say you're at a 3, I mean that's so. Have you done? Or let's focus on this. Is there a time during the week or any time at all that you remember feeling like, wow, they're actually helping? I'm not feeling like everything's on me. In the time that you've moved in with your sister-in-law, has there been a time at all when you actually feel like your needs are being met as well?
Yeah. I had a period where I was sick, and she would come home and she would, make dinner and take care of the kids, and her kids bathed my kids and got them ready, and it was helpful. She was very helpful at that time.
But it was only because you were sick. It wasn't because she wanted to help or do anything like that.
Right.
Okay.
And she does do dinner, which it does take that burden off of me.
Yes.
I'll text her through the day and say, what should we do for dinner? She says, I'll take care of it, which that is very helpful.
Oh, that's
and
good.
So probably like once a week she'll do that.
Okay. And that helps with your burden.
It does.
Okay.
I notice a difference in those days.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
That's really good to know. So do you think that, are you open enough? I mean, do you have a good relationship with your sister-in-law?
Yes.
A kind of open
Yeah.
relationship?
We talk a lot. We are careful with what we say to one another.
Yes.
But we are, she feels very guilt when she's deciding on something. She lets guilt drive that decision.
Gotcha.
And so if she's feeling guilty about something that I've said, then she'll try and find ways to help it, but then it's not because she wants to, it's because I would want her to. So sometimes that's difficult.
Yes.
Just that communication, but
do you feel like you could openly say, you know what, I would really appreciate it if you could do dinner twice a week? I mean, it's not asking a lot more because she already does it once. And do you feel like that might take a little bit more burden? Because you said you do feel better when that does happen.
Yeah, and I'm sure she would be very open to it.
Do you think so? Because I know having a job and all kind of stuff is hard, but
Right.
also being at home with 2 kids, and then when the other 2 come home, being at home with 4 kids, that's a lot on you as well.
Right.
So you have to keep in mind that even though you're not at work, you still have a lot on your plate as well. So, Kay, let's say that that's your homework for next week.
Okay.
That after the session is over, if you can communicate with her, and you don't even need to say, this is why, but just say, it would really help me out if you could, cover dinner twice a week instead of once a week, and that way it'll, help me to control whatever's going on that night, or, you know, deal with your family a little bit more.
Right.
Things like that.
Okay.
So sorry, I gotta check the time. Sorry, guys. Okay. So what about your husband? Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Has there been a time when he's helped out that you felt like, oh, it would be so great if he would keep doing that?
Yes, I feel that I was really, at one point I was really worried about Jenny, but she wouldn't open up to me. And so I did ask Mike, I said, I do think she needs to talk to somebody, but she's talked to someone who she doesn't talk to all the time, but has a very open-minded but yet steady mind to be able to converse with her about the situation.
Yes.
And he actually did come up and he talked with her for a long time and asked her really good questions, and it really, it just took it off of me because I felt like she was getting that love and support and help, but it wasn't me that was trying to do it and coming at a dead end. And so
Gotcha.
he's very good that if I do sternly say if I need something, then he's very good to do that.
Okay.
Sometimes it takes a few times asking him to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel that he can read me really well, and so he knows at what point is my breaking point, and he tries to help out sooner rather than later.
Oh, that's good.
So, yeah.
But you still feel this burden. You still feel like on the 1 to 10 scale, you're at a 3.
Right.
So a 3 is that you're just overwhelmed right now. What would a 4 or a 5 look like?
With my husband helping?
Yes. Or with your sister-in-law helping. Either way.
Probably on my husband's side, I would love it if he came home and just played with the kids. He tends to go downstairs and get on the computer and look up his news and his email and Facebook and those type of things. And sometimes and that's right around the time when I'm trying to do dinner. So it's like I'm doing dinner and he walks to the door and gives me a hug and kiss and then goes downstairs and looks up his stuff, when it would really be helpful for him to get the kids out of my hair so that I can cook dinner, and then maybe, you know, say you could go and look at your stuff after, or even after the kids are in bed, and that would probably make it a lot easier.
And that would make you feel better, obviously, too, with the
Right.
burden. So have you talked to him about that?
I occasionally
Yeah.
we have those conversations,
And
but then I feel like I'm coming off as the naggy wife,
Gotcha. Okay.
and I don't really like that
Mm-hmm.
either, and so sometimes it's an internal battle. Do I want to be the naggy wife, or do I want some silence while I try and make dinner?
And when you are the naggy wife, does he step up and help?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And when he does help, do you feel like, oh, it's lifted some burden off? Or do you, because
Yes.
of the nagging part, just feel like, oh, now he's just doing it because...
Depends how many times I have to nag.
Okay.
Yeah. But for the most part, it does help a lot when he, even if it is only 15 or 20 minutes, and I can see that he's really trying,
Mm-hmm.
then it really does make a difference.
And I feel like you are being super mom, first off.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like to ask for 15 or 20 minutes is not a long time to, you know, just come in. But from a hard day's work, he might have to, you know, you have to give a little as well.
Right.
So again, if we're talking about, you know, what you can do before the next session to help get you from that 3 to a 4, the first one would be to talk to your sister-in-law about dinner. And on those nights when she does dinner, you don't have to worry about your husband taking care of the kids, hopefully, because then you can be, you know,
Right.
involved in all that kind of stuff. But maybe on the days when she's not doing dinner, maybe ask for just like 2 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Say, you know what, Mike, I would like it if you could, even just Mondays and Fridays, or Mondays and Wednesdays, or whatever, come home and for 20 minutes play with the kids, then we'll have dinner, and then you can go and do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as he knows that there is something at the end for him as well, that he's not just giving up everything for you, then it's a give and take situation.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel like that's something that you could do and ask him without feeling like the nagging wife?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. I do think even if I think it's good advice to start out with like a 2-day, you know,
Mhm.
and then maybe even grow from there, who knows, but I think it is good to just say, you know, these days, can you just do this? So that then he knows when he comes home from work to have the attitude
Yes.
to do it. That's good advice.
And do you feel like, will he take it in a good way, and will your sister-in-law take it in an okay way without
Yeah.
Putting up a battle?
Yes. I think sometimes I don't ask much of them.
Mm-hmm.
So when I do feel like they see that I do help out a lot, and so they see that, oh, this is a way I can help Jess.
Mm-hmm.
And I am vocalizing that, and so I think that they would. I just probably need to ask them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully that will solve some of the burden that you have on you and some of the emotions you're going through, as well as the work that you talked about when you're doing everything for everybody and in reality you want some praise for that, then they can also see all the stuff that you're doing and juggling too, because they'll have to be a part of that as well.
Right.
So hopefully, I'm hoping that will help you a little bit.
Hopefully.
Does
I'm
that
sure
sound
it will.
okay?
Yes.
Okay. So when we meet next session, we will discuss what you've come up with and if you've talked to both of them and how the week went.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.